Most entrepreneurs don't start with all the answers. They start with an idea, a little courage, and a willingness to take the next step. Today's guest built a business from something he loved while working a full time job. And over the last several years, he's turned it into a passion that resulted in a growing, viable business. If you've ever wondered whether you have what it takes to start, this conversation is for you. This is Kingdom Entrepreneur. It's his kingdom, and you're calling. Let's go. Welcome our guest today, Josh Clearman. Josh, thanks for joining us on Kingdom Entrepreneur.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. I always love getting to chat with my friend Ray. So, and we'll see what I can add to this conversation. But you're somebody I look to. I love listening to the podcast to help me out, and it's just been great. A good podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you being here and your kind words. Always enjoy the conversation as well. Just start and tell us a kind of synopsis of your life and really what got you to this point and the genesis of your business.
Okay, well, I'll keep it short because I have not lived a long life. I just hit 30, so there's not much to tell about other than after going to school at Sunset and graduating from there to get into ministry full time. I've been here in Arkansas, Beebe, Arkansas, which is in between Little Rock and Searcy, where Harding, the school there is that a lot of people are familiar with. Been here for about 5 years, and the thing that my business, I call it Buckwood Calls. That's the title of the business, the name of the business. And what it is game calls such as deer grunts, turkey calls. I'll even make a few things that people, kind of request from me for fun. But that's where it's all started, was with the deer hunting aspect. And hunting's been something that I love to do in my life, that I grew up doing with my dad. We always loved to go. Maybe not always the most successful at it, but always love to go. And that's something that is big here, is hunting, but also with the added flavor of duck hunting. Well, and then I can get to that in a minute, but I grew up with my grandpa, who, not with him, I grew up with my parents, but my grandpa is a big woodworker. My dad's very clever. We kind of have this mindset in our family of tinkering and making things with our hands. And so he showed me how to make things, my grandpa did, on a wood lathe, pins, razors, things like that for fun. And I loved it during high school. And it was something that I was dying to have of my own. And so for Christmas, I was gifted, a lathe for myself, was making stuff for a while, got over here to Arkansas, and everyone here loves duck hunting because it's one of the main spots for duck hunting wherever the migration route is. It's also 2 minutes away from me, is one of the top two or three biggest duck call makers in America.
Oh,
And
wow.
so this area loves it. And so as
Mhm.
I'm making pins and razors and stuff as a bit of a hobby, I thought, let me just try to make one of these and just see. And I loved it. I fell in love making it because it's bigger, it's more complicated. And you're thinking, why does that make you more excited about it? But it's because, when you may not know, but if you make a pin or a razor, you have two bushings and you got to make it the same size every time. Well, the duck call or the grunt call or turkey call, you've got to figure out from scratch how to make it inside and out. And that became something that I love to do here, love to give away for people for gifts and stuff. And so
Mhm.
it's had a slow start with that. Maybe that answers your first question, though.
Yeah, it does. That's great. So, if did you start it really more as a hobby, not intending to be a business?
Yes, sir. Did start as a hobby, and it started with the idea of, I love to do this. This thing cost money.
Mhm.
So if I could just get people to basically pay for the hobby itself to give me the chance to go outside and toy around, then okay, then I don't have to worry about the financial aspect all the time of it, because it can add up. But yeah, it started out as that. And before I knew it, it got a little bit and then a lot of bit bigger.
Okay, and is that when you decided, hey, maybe I can actually make this a business?
More or less. I started not doing the duck call because one, like I said, 2 minutes away is that one big business, and I respect them, and I think they've got a great product. But
Mhm.
one thing that I had not seen a lot of, and the thing that I specialize in with what I make is the deer calls. The deer grunts is what they're called, and so they're a little bit bigger than a duck call, and they're used, a bit more broadly than duck calls as well. And I thought, okay, this would be something to step into and try. And what I did was I love to give away things. I guess you could say I'm a gift giver. That's one of my what would they call that? A love language or something like
Okay.
that.
Right.
I'm not even about receiving gifts, but I love to give them. And so we've got a lot of hunters within our own congregation here at the church that I preach at. I even do in the fall, to me that I work on and think about in the deer stand, and people here, I mean, it speaks to them a different way. They like it. And so I like to give these things out to them. And I said, just tell me what you think, give it a try. Tell me what I can work on and make it better. What can I do? Well, got some critiques, of course, back, here and there, but by and large, it almost immediately good. And you need to think about, getting this out there more. And so it started from there with friends here, family members abroad, word of mouth getting out. And then it just took off before I realized quite really what I had. So it was an intentional decision, but I expected a couple more years of grind and work and having to travel to different, types of shows where you show these things off and you show people like at a vendor station, because that's what a lot of people do. But it just ended up being something that I was able to, through personal connections and make more personal connections, which is what I really love about it. Last year is when it really started getting big. I'd say the first year wasn't quite that by and large big because I started it right at deer season. And in case you don't know, deer season, for those who are listening, runs 1, 2, 3 months and then it's done for the year. So you got a weird window in there. And I started it right at the beginning and kind of took off about Christmas time a little bit, then died off, which makes sense. But turkey season rolled around last year and same kind of thing. I thought it was really neat. Let me make some turkey calls because no one around here is doing that. And I
Mhm.
think that it'd be fun. And it just took off again because of things like social media and also that personal aspects with people. One of the things that I did that I wanted to include within the idea of having this business, it's a joy for me because I love hunting and I love seeing other people's success.
Okay.
I love other people having a great time hunting because it's something that you do with your family. It's something that builds some of the best memories that I have personally and other families have as well. And so what I told them was, as I sent these out and people were buying them or I'm giving them away, I said, just take a picture with you in the stand with my call and take a picture with your deer or your turkey with my call as well. And I started doing a raffle each year of if you send it to me, then I'll put you in there twice. If you have, if you get success and you get your deer, you get your bird, I'll put you in there twice. Or if it's just you in the stand holding it, I'll put you in there once, but I still want to put you in there. And I'll share those on my social media and on the website as well of, Jackson from Mississippi here with a great view, or the first this one just came in the other day. I'm international now. I'm in Canada. That's
Let's
awesome.
go.
Some people say I don't know if Canada's worth bragging about, but I think it is. And it came from a guy that got a turkey call for his son. His son got his first turkey or one of his first turkeys with it and sent me the picture and a long description of how great it was and good of an experience and a memory. And I was able to post that on social media. I love that. I love being a part of that in some small way that, you know, if I can give you something good and you can do something great with it that,
Mhm.
makes you have a fond memory that's involved with it. I love it. It's just something that excites me, that makes me say, this is something worth doing because, I think I'd say that I've sent a call. I started making a map and taking track of where I've sent them
Okay.
all. 30 for sure states. I want to say maybe 35.
Okay.
And On the East Coast, we're doing really good. West Coast, but California, I got one in, so that's great. But all over, you've got people now that I get to, in some small way, be a part of their experience, and I just love it.
That's great. What were there any points in it that you really hesitated? Like, do I really want to put myself out there? Do I want this to get bigger? What are people going to think? What are they going to say? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I had a lot of wrestling matches through it. I
Mhm.
still do from time to time because to me, preaching and church ministry is my number one. I'm not giving that up. I'm not gonna give it up.
Mhm.
It's what I absolutely love more than the things that I'm saying for much bigger spiritual reasons, but along the same part of I get to play a part in people's lives in this way and God's plan in this way. It
Yeah.
is infinitely larger to me. But I started it because, hey, a little bit extra doesn't hurt. And as I've already said, I love to give, and it's actually helped me to give. It's
Okay.
helped me to make other people's lives a little bit better, easier, put more on the plate, just
Mhm.
wherever that I can help somebody or something, I have a bit more freedom to give, and I love that as well. But there had been some wrestling matches when it got too big too fast. That's a problem, and then
Okay.
I've heard you say that before. You get a little bit too big too
Mhm.
fast, and that happened again when things took off, especially with turkey stuff this past year. And when social media took off as well with it, which is almost like hitting the lottery in a
Mhm.
way, if it can hit with social media, because in 2 years I haven't paid for any ads or anything. But last year, I got a couple videos that are in the hundreds of thousands of views, one that's over a
Mhm.
million, and things like that across different platforms. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying it, I got lucky.
Yeah.
And because of it, it became such a big influx of people wanting this, wanting that, and everything that comes with it. I wasn't prepared for it. And what it did is it stressed me out way
Mhm.
bad, put me in a spot of not quite depression, but like really a wrestling match for a month or so in January this year of saying, do I even want to do this?
Mhm.
Is this worth doing? And
Mhm.
then the other question was, is it right to keep doing this?
Right.
If it's gonna demand X amount of time and all that, and so did not take a step back, but what I did was I regrouped, and this is where all the doubt came in, of what to do and if it's the right thing for me to do. I do think it's the right thing to do. But what I did was I regrouped and I set limits and I set intentional boundaries about what I want to accomplish, not just let's just see what happens. Because that's what a lot of it has been. Let's just see what happens and go where the wind blows. But setting those has helped me mentally to be able to think about it in a very good way, but also, with my time that I can spare to it, what I can allot to it has been a lot better as well. And it makes me less anxious, less stressed out, makes me actually enjoy it. I was at risk of losing the enjoyment,
Yeah.
and I did for about a month.
Okay.
But reevaluating it, bringing God into that conversation of, what is the best way to honor God with this and be able to honor my work that I'm doing with this and still provide something good for people with it and good product and not let it be, kind of an afterthought of, or not an afterthought, but my second best work. I want it to be my best work when I do it because I make everything by
Mhm.
hand. That's the other thing. That's why it's pretty demanding at times.
Okay.
Um, I had those worries, I had those doubts, but since then it's been better in mentally, physically. Funny enough, wouldn't you believe it? Even financially,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
even better.
Okay. So, and you shared something. Thanks for doing that. This a pretty common experience. You finally go, and all of a sudden it grows too fast, and you go, "Wait a second, is this what I wanted?" So, if you looking back, and you've already shared some of these, but looking back, what are some of the things you wish you'd have known before? Because those will really help people who are maybe on the fence. Do I
Yeah.
really want to do this? I've got something I love. I think it's a blessing to other people, but do I really want to do this? What would you say are some of the most important things you've learned that would help someone else on that journey?
I think I would say to that. Some of the things that I wish I would have known or realized beforehand. Of course, I knew it was going to be a lot of work.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I wish I would have realized that if it does get to a certain point, it does require commitment from you,
Mhm.
just like other things in your life require commitment. And you've got to be okay grinding it out for a little while
Mhm.
until you can get some help with that, and you also are going to have to adapt to your failure, to your success,
Mhm.
to either one. You're going to have to
Mhm.
adapt to the way that the world works, because I mean, just in 3 years things have changed in terms of how you get things out, how you contact people, um and as well as you have to be able to admit that, all right, you didn't make this. Like for me starting out, you're not as good as you thought you were.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
There are always ways to improve this thing.
Yeah.
And there's also the aspect that you're doing this for other people, and so they do matter in the equation.
Mhm.
It's, I guess some people have said, what's that phrase? Customers always right. I don't know if they're always right, but you're doing it to serve them.
Right.
And I'm probably talking a lot of circles. I don't know if this is making a lot of sense for for your
Well, it
question or
is
not.
helpful. Yeah.
But one of the things that I think is helpful to think about, if I would have thought about it a little bit better, what I've heard from your podcast and from talking with you personally as well, is going into things with the intentional mindset,
Right.
the right purpose
Mhm.
beforehand. Because, like you heard me say a minute ago, I kind of jumped into it and said, we'll
Mhm.
just see where it goes. And I think that that can lead to failure in a couple of different ways. It's kind of by God's grace that it even took off to what it is, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
But the purpose in mind I want to tell myself in the past to have is, this is God's, glorify God with it, uh, gl- be a representation of His with this thing as well, not just with your other job, as
Mhm.
clearly it is, but with this too. It needs to be something that gives God glory and can be used to serve His kingdom in some kind of way. And that wasn't something I'd thought about. I
Mhm.
didn't think about really God in the equation too much of it, other than He's blessed me with some skill, maybe.
Mhm.
Uh, but more than that is the purpose. Yeah, you gotta think about, okay, if you're gonna start something, do you have the right skill set, first of all? I mean, I think it's great to start a new phone company with better service. I have
Mhm.
no idea how to do that, so I'm not gonna go do that. But
Uh-huh.
in this case, I've got a little bit of skill and I can go into it. Okay, but number 2, am I doing it for the right reasons? Because doing something just to, uh it by the end of the day, just to accumulate wealth and possessions, and that's the only purpose,
Mhm. It's
you could get it. You could, but how well is that really gonna be worth the price that you're paying for it? I really have been trying to think about things like Ecclesiastes, and I think I heard you like Ecclesiastes,
doing
right?
a whole lot.
Eh,
Yeah.
I think of Ecclesiastes too. 18 and verse 22 and 23, when you've got the picture of a person who's just working and striving and saying, what is the point of all my toil, and what's the point of all the work under the sun, is the way we might read it, right? And the phrase there that kind of is haunting, that I got a little bit of an experience with now in verse 23, is how he says, even his work is just a vexation, even at night he can't rest.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in others, but now I've kinda tasted that, and that's
Right.
kinda what alarms me a little bit. And so I would tell myself, don't get caught up too much in it that you lose yourself to it and you forget why you did it in the first. It's a fun thing, it's a heritage thing, it's a joyful thing, and there's a bigger purpose to it other than just work, work, work.
Okay. Yeah. No, those are all great points. Thanks for sharing them. You definitely hit the nail on the head. You've got to have a purpose. It helps if it's something you love that you've got some experience in, but then never let it get out of hand and forget what it is. What looking back, what's been the most difficult part of building this business so far?
There's been a lot of ambiguity of, I'm people may not believe this, but I'm a pretty self-conscious person, and
Mm,
so I worry about, my own, uh the product itself, and every time I send one out, I'm like, "Oh, man, I sure hope that this thing lasts," or
mhm,
something like that. I hope it
yeah.
does its job. But sorry, Ray, say the question again.
Well, up
You can
to
cut
this
this part
point,
out.
what's been the most difficult part of building the business?
Okay. The most difficult part is, I would say bringing somebody else in on it in terms of
Mhm.
giving me their thoughts
Okay.
and their critiques, as well as trusting somebody to help me do it.
Mm,
That's about the point where I'm at right now. Um, I finally let somebody help me out with it, and it's been a great help. But to me, I'm kind of worried that it's got to be my way. It's got to be done
mhm.
exactly to my specifications, or else it's just not going to work. You know,
Okay.
there's an aspect to it because with call making, I'm not sure how much this translates to other businesses. Um, it's about sound, not
Mhm,
necessarily always about look, because, think about a saxophone or something. A saxophone's made a very specific way, very precarious to make these things sometimes. And so for me, I can focus on the sound part though, but I can trust someone else to help me with the looks and assemble things together. And part of the hardest part of the business, honestly, is letting go of some of it
yeah.
and trusting other people with their thoughts, but also with the making of it. I've been blessed because I can tell you I haven't had a hard part with it financially. At first, yeah, I had to do a few things, get into a little
Mhm,
bit of debt. That's a little bit scary, but to me that wasn't very very hard to try to do. It's
mhm,
not been hard to make the social media videos. It's not been hard to get the word out even. I've
mhm.
been blessed in that way. I know for some struggle with that. And
Right.
I don't know why. I can't tell you other
Mhm.
than God is doing something awesome.
Okay.
But I'm the hardest part of it, of the business.
Yeah.
I am the thing that will hold it back in some ways, I'm realizing.
It's one of the things I talk about often, and I learned it from John Maxwell that the leader's always the lid, that the company never outgrows you. And then when you start adding team members, that you're the lid, they come up to your level, and it has to do with your training and empowering. So, yeah, you're right on there. You've grown organically for 3 years, and you've talked about just the social media and how people have shared it. What would you say another factor is that's really contributed to this growth that you experience?
I think personability, personal encounters with people is huge.
Okay.
Like I said, one of the biggest joys of it is you get to be part of people's experiences out there in other states and apparently other countries.
Mhm,
And you this is something really cool that I can actually build a personal relationship with some people.
mhm,
And I I I think that that's huge. If I look at it from a consumer standpoint, I like to know that the person making this thing cares about me,
mhm, mhm,
or dealing with me cares about me and my experience with it. And so that has come across the bridge into success and some exciting things that are coming up, by the way.
okay.
One of those is I do things for some businesses now. I can personalize
Oh,
my calls
mhm.
and so I'm personalizing them for some businesses.
Great gift.
There's
Yeah.
one guy in Florida who he and 6 people they have a goal. They're making a YouTube video with all of this. They wanna use my call with their design on it and their company and stuff, but they wanna get a turkey from every state in America.
Okay.
That's their goal, and so that's cool, and I
Yeah.
get to be a part of that in some way, and so I get to talk with him on the phone or other people as well and say, "What can I do to make this special for you guys?" And that is something if you can the more personalized things are today, everyone wants something personal, everyone wants to feel like they matter, and they really do in the eyes of God too, they do matter, they are something special to God.
Mhm,
And so people should be special to us in some ways. And if I can step into that in ways that I've had in personalizing things, but also, um, you know, what's helped also is people realize that I'm for now kind of just one person. I'm not a huge machine making all these
Hmm.
things. And I've had things not go good with my calls out in the field.
Mm. Okay.
And I just have to eat it and say, it could be me, it could be the wood that it's made from, it could be something else. I don't know. But I'll take care of it. I'll take care of you.
Hmm.
No charge, no cost, because I want you to have something good. And if you can do things like that where you can just kind of accept responsibility, be generous in that way, it goes a
Hmm.
long way for people. And that's from those situations is where more of the word of mouth has spread, from what they've told me. I
Good.
heard from so and so that they got this call from you and you helped them out, yada, yada. And I want to see about getting some for my kids or for this business. And that's what's helped out a lot.
Great. You highlighted several things there that I think are really important in the boom of AI. So many people are worried about how is AI going to replace me? And it
Hmm.
really is the human part. You talk about, I build this thing. Nobody can replace that. Somebody else can figure out an AI bot, I'm sure, to make it, but it's not the same as handmade, and there's not the relationship. And then you also highlighted something else that I think is a competitive advantage in an AI world is no excuses. I just take responsibility. I'll own it. I'll make it right. I'll take care of you. Those are great points. How has your faith influenced your willingness to take risks, to make decisions, and to continue moving forward, even when you didn't have all the answers?
Yeah. I preach a lot, actually, even lately, about that if you can understand all the ends to it, how is it faith?
Yeah.
If you can see the
Mhm.
end, you have to
Great
step
point.
out and trust. And I don't know if it's actually Henry Ford's quote. I've heard people say it and say it's not, but if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got.
Yeah.
Um, I've
Whoever said it,
also
it's
heard
spot on.
whoever said it. Yeah. I also heard a friend the other day say this, and I thought this was really good. Said, "Don't let perfect get in the way of good enough."
Mm,
And we should strive for perfection, yes, but the idea of you're not gonna start out perfect, but you need to step out and on the pursuit of it, on
okay.
the pursuit of being really, really good. And so that works with me in terms of church and faith and being a Christian of I can step out and God will certainly supply the rest, and he'll work with me. He will work despite me,
Yeah.
and I can trust God in this. When it comes to the business, if God wants this to succeed, I'll follow him in it.
Okay.
If God wants it to stop at a certain point or altogether, then it will. I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to watch diligently to see what he does and to make sure that he gets what's due to him from me. And well, kind of back to what I said earlier, we'll see where it goes.
Good.
But I'm going to trust him with that. And that in some ways makes the risk taking okay. It's got to make sense,
Mhm.
on paper, but it also does need that aspect of willingness to step out. There are many unknown factors. You don't know all the things that are going to come up. I've been surprised at some of the stuff that
Yeah.
has popped up. Never in a million years would I have assumed some things would happen or things. Anyway, you know how it is. Others may know how it is, or they'll figure out how it is. But if God wants it to succeed, it will. I'm just going to follow Him in it.
Yeah. I encourage, and it's the exact thing you're saying. I encourage people to think about an open hand. God places it in your hand. As long as it's in your hand, you're responsible for it. Use it well, use it his way, use it for his purposes. But as long as the hand's open, he can take it out too. And that feels
Right.
scary sometimes. But when you've walked with him long enough, you also know he's a good father and he's always working for what's best for you. If, Josh, suppose someone's listening today or watching the YouTube and they're thinking about starting a business. They've thought about it for years, and you touched on this. They're waiting for the perfect time or the perfect plan. What would you tell them?
I would say that, of course, if you're waiting for cost of things to go down, it's not going to happen. If you're waiting for the market to be stable, it's not going to happen. If you're waiting for any kind of assurance like that,
Mm,
you're looking in the wrong place. I would think of two things. One, as I've already said, I think, do you have something to offer in this? Do you have the desire to that this is going to be a joyful thing, that this is a enjoyable thing as well. A need, do you see a need for it? And if so, then trust God, pray about it, get the purpose in your mind before stepping out, that of where you want this to go, why you want it to succeed, what you're going to do with it when it does succeed, which chief among that reasons should be glorifying God, giving to God, serving people. I think that's all you need in order to step out and start finding out, how do I get this thing rolling, and go ahead and take the steps. That's my experience anyway.
Yeah,
My
as you were
limited experience.
Yeah. Well, and it's great. As you were talking, I just thought, you can't steer a parked car. You can move the tires, but you don't change anything. You got to get rolling. So when you think about the future, what excites you the most? Not just about growing the business, but about the impact that it will have on others.
No, I'm so excited about where it can go because, hey, if it helps me out, my family financially, great. That's secondary, thirdary, whatever. Um, the idea though that there's families out there that have a great time in the woods hunting, and they send me those pictures from states I'm not even in with my calls or the current ones. That idea that I get to be a part of that experience with people in a way is just really cool to me. And, I can even, what I do as well is, well, one person shared with me and posted on social media in a review or something like that of, this is something that's basically an heirloom. I can hand this down.
That's cool.
That to me is really neat to think about. Of That's been my goal. I want to make something good, something lasting, something of
Hmm.
quality that, can be enjoyed by you and by others. And that's great that it seems like it's already on its way. The idea that, because again, some of those memories and those times with your family, those are the biggest parts in many people's lives.
Yeah.
And some of the most exciting times, I remember when I was hunting with my dad, and we were deer hunting, but we were in an area, didn't have many deer, but we got plenty of hogs in Texas, as you know.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that I got whenever I was hunting with him. And he was more excited than me.
Uh-huh.
He was just about ready to holler, jumping up and down, shaking me, "You got him, you got him."
Yeah.
And I think about that, and I think about that for other families, and that's just something cool to be a part of.
It really is. And as
That's
you were
that's what
talking,
excites me the most.
yeah, as you're talking, I was just thinking about how hard it is. I hear all the time families can't figure out a way to spend time together. And whether it's hunting, getting outdoors, you know, uh, my youngest daughter and I have spent so many hours running together. It is whatever it is that's finding out, making that space to be together really is about kingdom impact and kingdom entrepreneurship. That a business that serves God and serves others and improves the quality of life really makes a difference. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. You've really given some good advice and shared some great stories. If somebody wanted to learn more about you, they wanted to find your calls, how would they do that? Did
Well, and I finally got a website now. Now that we have adapted, and that you can find that buckwoodcalls.com. You can find it on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of it, because you need all of it, right?
Mhm.
But that's where they can find me. And if you message it, it's always me that replies. I'm personally dealing with each and every person, and that's just because that's the way I operate. It's the way I love to do it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that'd be great. And thank you for having me. And I've enjoyed this. Like I said, I've learned a lot. You can tell areas, I'm sure, where I'm still pretty green, and I'm ready and willing to keep learning and keep growing, as much as this thing will. But I appreciate you a lot.
Well, likewise, you too, and you're doing really well. I'm proud of you and proud of the way this business has grown, and grateful for you sharing how important it is to know your purpose in doing it. And then I want to thank everybody for taking some time and listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube. And just to let you know, this is what I love to do also. is to work with business owners, brand new, starting out, or you got some years under you, and really helping you learn those lessons, accelerate them, so that you don't have to learn everything the hard way. Thanks for joining us on Kingdom Entrepreneur. Remember, it's His kingdom and it's your calling that your work is one of the most important ways that you can worship God. Have a great day.